We got some groundbreaking news. GameStop is expanding past their used video game market and moving towards the trading card game, specifically Pokemon. What does this mean? This means GameStop is going to start purchasing your Pokemon cards for trade-ins or in-store credit. And they will also be having single cards in their store for sale also. They have partnered up with PSA, known as Professional Sports Authenticator. So PSA cards will be the only cards that they will be accepting at this moment. Let me ask you, is GameStop making the right move by transitioning towards a local game store model? I'm going to read this article from The Verge posted on May 11th. Alright, so this article from The Verge. GameStop, the used video game retailer that's become increasingly associated with other kinds of speculative investments, wants to cash in on the resurgent card collecting craze. Staffers had told PokeBeach, Polygon, and The Verge that stores will begin buying and selling rare Pokemon cards and possibly other cards as soon as next week. So this was posted on May 11th. So basically, it's pretty much happening right now, as soon as next week, right? GameStop apparently doesn't want just any cards though. Employees across multiple states, so this has been already happening around the country, across multiple states, that they'll only be buying cards that have already been graded by a Professional Sports Authenticator at an 8, 9, or 10, meaning they're in near mint condition or better, with only slight imperfections. And yet, GameStop won't accept the rarest cards valued at over $500, either PokeBeach and Polygon report. You'll have to find somewhere else to sell your PSA 10 Shadowless First Edition Charizard. So reading this, obviously there's a cap of $500. One employee tells The Verge that this is an explicit collaboration between GameStop and PSA, but that GameStop won't offer grading services in-store or help you mail your cards in for grading. GameStop will take other kinds of PSA graded cards beyond Pokemon too, though, that employee says. And while PokeBeach reports that you'll be able to buy cards too, they won't necessarily be the same rare PSA graded ones, but rather $1 singles to start. So obviously, we're able to sell them PSA cards, but we're not going to be able to buy PSA cards from them, at least for now. You're just going to start off with like your $1 singles. GameStop didn't immediately respond to another request for comment. We have reached out to PSA as well. It's not clear when this program will roll out to stores. While PokeBeach says it's starting next week, my local store said it should begin in July. It does look like they do plan on doing it, across America eventually. They probably had some pilot GameStop stores throughout the country to see, what sold and what not. So basically, reading this article, it looks like they are only accepting PSA grades, 8 through 10, and will have a $500 cap. So obviously nothing vintage, which can cost over $10,000. This all sounds good, right? But have you personally sold any used games at GameStop recently? I know I have. My brother has. Anyone I know has some type of experience with them. They will literally give you 10 to 25% of the used game's value and resell it back to the original retail price to another customer. Okay, maybe they'll give a small discount on it. How about buying a new game? I know y'all all remember all those long lines for Call of Duty, NBA 2K. GameStop will literally sell you a $50 game for $60. I get it. They're a corporation. They need profit margins. But think about this. It'd be devastating to see a teenager bringing their Paldean Fate Special Illustration Rare PSA 10 Charizard worth around $300 that their parents bought them, and only getting a trade-in value for an Elite Trainer box and a booster bundle worth a small amount for approximately $75. Now, for people that do their research, it should be no problem, but this is going to hurt people that don't do the research, especially teenagers, sorry. On top of that, GameStop is unclear how they're going to determine the value of the cards people bring in. Are they just going to look at recent eBay sales to determine value since they're only dealing with PSA cards? I don't know about you, but I see this as a big, huge problem. Okay? I understand GameStop has so many categories of merchandise and have a bad rap of them having add-ons at the cash register, but their prices are their prices and will not change. There's no haggling or negotiating with the employee at GameStop about the price. This brings up a big question. How are we going to trust we are dealing with a knowledgeable employee about Pokemon cards in the market? This is the reason we go to our local game or card store, because this is what they deal with on the daily basis with cards on the secondary market. Do you think this will hurt your local game or card stores? I see why they are headed this direction based off the money that can be made in trading card games, which is true. We are going more towards the trading card games, especially what happened in 2020. They want to start with PSA first and branch out eventually with BGS and CGC. I find it very interesting how GameStop wants to operate like a local game store. But I'll tell you what, me personally, if I am looking for a single card from Sword and Shield or X and Y, I'm not going to GameStop. I'm going to be looking at it from my local LGS, right? Maybe I show them the fluctuation of price on the card, and we could eventually come to an agreement on a sell price with the owner because they understand the Pokemon card space and are flexible. GameStop, they won't quite have that flexibility if y'all have seen those memes. Another thing I want to discuss, they will be selling holos and reverse holos for $1 a piece. I know many will hate on this because who spends $1 on a modern holo, right? But I must admit, back in February, I personally spent between $1 to $2.50 per reverse holo to help complete my Pokemon 151 set. So I can see that being a popular thing, okay? Lastly, I've yet graded any Pokemon cards myself since I live in Japan. I usually have a go-to person that will mail all of our cards together, which has a chance to get all of our cards mixed up with everybody else. So if they did go to grading stuff, I would find it so useful if GameStop helped with in-store grading or at least help ship my cards out. That could just be a me problem since I live abroad, I get it, right? Anyways, we will see how this affects GameStop's future, since in the last 5-6 years they have been declining due to more online game purchases and a not so pleasant customer experience. Let me ask you, do you think GameStop will have an easy transition fitting with the local game and card stores? Will this move introduce more people into Pokemon for those that have never visited an LGS? I want to hear you guys. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you want me to produce more of this style content? You know, this is my first time doing this kind of style. And if y'all have enjoyed it, please let me know. If you liked it, please consider subscribing. PokeJammerz is out.